Hey Valley Middle Kids, welcome back to another G67 math video. Tonight we're going to be dividing positive and negative decimals. First start off with our trivia question. What is the highest recorded temperature ever? We'll be back with that answer after instruction. Officially tonight our target is I can divide positive and negative decimals. Let's do this thing. Alright, so here's our problem. We have a negative 7.08. We're going to divide it, remember that means division, we're going to divide it by 0.59. All right, well, there's a number of challenges here. Sometimes when you have to divide things like this without a calculator, you're not even sure which one goes in the house, which one goes out of the house. In that case, I want you to just think about the problem 12 divided by 3. This means, I could slide this guy over here. It means the same thing, right? It's in the same order. This is negative 7.08 divided by 0.59, just like 12 divided by 3. I could put a fraction bar in there. If I gave you 12 divided by 3, I know you'd put 12 as the dividend and 3 as the divisor. So when you get confused, just simplify it for yourself. In this case here, we have to deal with decimals and this negative. So we're just going to set the negative aside for a little bit. And the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to move the decimal in the divisor because we want to get this divisor to be a whole number without any decimals in it. So we're going to go ahead and move that a couple of places. Now we've changed that into 59. What we've really done is we've multiplied it by 100. But we have to multiply this side by 100 too. So we're going to move that 2 decimal places to the right. So now we've got this new problem we've rewritten, and I suggest you rewrite it, as 708 divided by 59. And if you work through it, you'll see that this answer is 12, but I'll take you through. We take 1 times 59 is 59, and we subtract it out. We've got 11 left over. We can bring that 8 down. Now we know that 59 will go into 118 2 times. So we'll multiply that and subtract it out. We'll have a 0. We have our answer up here is 12, but we have to go back into the problem and see how that works out. So we had a negative 7.08 divided by 0.59. So this is a negative divided by a positive. We know that's going to yield a negative answer because we have different signs here. So when they're different signs, a negative and a positive will be a negative answer. Let's take a look at some other stuff you're probably going to need to know to be able to do this. Quick review of dividing decimals. If the decimal is in the divisor, move it to the right to make it a whole number. Then move the decimal in the dividend the same number of places. Go ahead and divide normally, and then when you're done, deal with the positive and the negatives. Keep in mind, a positive divided by a negative, that'll give you a negative. A negative divided by a positive will give you a negative because their different signs will produce a negative answer. However, if it's a negative divided by a negative, same sign will give you a positive answer. And I didn't put it down there, but of course a positive divided by a positive is also a positive answer. All right, so taking a look at this here, we have this problem, 0.12 divided by 1.44. I'm going to move that decimal in the divisor 2 places, creating this as making it into a whole number. I've multiplied it by 100, so now I have 12. I'll do the same thing over here. Multiply by 100, I'm going to have 144. So here's my new problem. 144 divided by 12. You can work through it. You know that the quotient is going to be 12. Here we have a positive number. We're dividing it by a positive number. We have a positive answer of 12. All right, let's take a look at a decimal problem. Here we have 26.46, and we're going to divide it by a negative 4.2. Well, first thing we're going to have to do there is we're going to have to deal with that decimal in the divisor. So you can see that I wrote out the problem. I've got my 4.2 here. I'm going to multiply it by 10, or I'm going to move that decimal 1 spot. I'm going to do the same thing in the dividend. Move it 1. So here's my new problem. I now have 264.6, and I'm dividing it by 42. I can go ahead and take that 6 times 42 would give me 252. I can subtract out. I would have 12 left over. I'm going to bring the 6 down. I have 126. It's going to go in there 3 times. Now here's where the decimal is. That's a 0.6. So that is where I put that decimal up. The decimal in your dividend, it should be in the exact same spot. Right above it should be the decimal in your answer or your quotient. So I'm going to take 3 times 42, and that's going to give me exactly 126. So I subtract out. Here's my answer up here. My quotient is 6.3. Got to come back up to the problem and double check here. I had a positive, and I'm dividing it by a negative, so my answer is going to be a negative 6.3. Remember how I said that at the beginning? Deal with the decimal and the divisor, divide it, and then come back and take a look and determine whether the answer is positive or negative. All right, I think we got some problems, 3 problems for you to try here tonight. Go ahead and try this one here. 67.2 divided by a negative 3.2, and I wrote it out both ways. You can go ahead and pause the video, try. All right, let's see how you did. Well, you should have set the problem up like this. You can see that decimal in the divisor. You should have multiplied it by 10, or moved that decimal one place in the divisor and one place in the dividend. Your new problem was 672 divided by 32. You could work yourself straight through there and you'd have an answer of 21. Hopefully you checked your answer. I think I checked mine with multiplication. I just said that 672 divided by 32, if that's 21, that means 21 times 32 should be 672. So here's 32 times 10. Here's another group of 10. So now I have 32 times 20 and 32 times 1. Add these up, this would be 640. And if I add one more group of 32, I'd have 32 makes it 672. So I got my dividend back when I multiplied my quotient and my divisor. I know my answer is correct. All right, let's have you try another one. Negative 5.1 divided by 0.34. Go ahead and pause the video and try. All right, let's see how you did. Well, you should have set it up like this. You're going to have to move the decimal 2 places, and this is going to cause you to put in a 0 here. So you can see how I rewrote that problem. So it's actually 510 divided by 34. And if you worked your way through it, you should have gotten an answer, a quotient of 15. Now when we go back up here to put this guy in, we'll just have to check. We have negative 5.1 divided by 0.34. We have a negative divided by a positive. That's going to be a negative number. Do a quick check here. We're looking at 510 divided by 34. So that would mean 15 times 34 would be 510. So 34 times 10 would be 340. And then half of 340, or 5 times 17, would be 170. So I have my 510 there. I kind of broke that down a little bit differently as I worked it in my head, but it worked out. Should be 5 times 34, but I'm sorry, I can't change that one. 5 times 34 is 170. Sorry about that. All right, let's move on. Try your next problem here. All right, last pause problem. Go ahead and try 3.02 divided by negative 0.05. Okay, let's see how you did. Well, rewrite it. You got a couple of decimals in the divisor, so I multiplied by 100. I got to multiply the dividend by 100. So I've got my new problem as 302 divided by 5. This is an interesting problem. It goes in there 60 times, but then I still had 2 remainder. So I can put the decimal up here, and I can bring down a 0, and that gives me 20. 5 goes into 24 times, so I end up with 60.4. Now I still have to determine whether that's positive or negative, but up here I had a positive divided by a negative, so I should have a negative answer. Do a quick check here. Looking at this one here, I just kind of knew that 300 divided by 5 was 60. I knew that 2 divided by 5 was 0.4, so I had my quick check there. Shows me that my answer of negative 60.4 is correct. All right, time for the ticket to the show problems. Negative 2.432 divided by 0.38 equals, I don't know. And then you have negative 0.3252 divided by a negative 0.02. All right, complete those, bring those to class tomorrow for your ticket to the show. Let's take a quick peek at our trivia question. What is the highest recorded temperature? Is actually in Death Valley, California, on July 13th. Sorry, on July 10th and July 10th and 1913. They recorded 56.7 degrees Celsius, which is 134 degrees Fahrenheit. Kind of interesting. Let me just add another interesting fact here. Actually, they had changed it on September 13th, 2012. The World These guys disqualified the record for the highest temperature exactly 90 years after it had been established in Libya. They had a measurement of 58 degrees Celsius, and I'm not sure, I couldn't figure out why they disqualified it. But whereas Death Valley in California is right here, kind of over on the Nevada border, and Death Valley is a desert area located in eastern California. It's the lowest and the driest and hottest area in North America. All right, thanks for listening. Have a good night. Bye.